Hey, hey, hey. Happy Wednesday. Come on in, pull up a chair. The Gaming Gang Dispatch is in the air. Howdy, gang, and welcome once again to the Duct Tape Studios. I'm Jeff McAleer, your host here at the Gaming Gang Dispatch, brought to you by, interestingly enough, thegaminggang.com, of which I happen to be the founder and editor-in-chief. So welcome aboard, everyone. Tonight is Wednesday, August 13th, 2025. This is live stream 1222. If you're not overly familiar with the show, let me point out, super casual around here. Just hanging out, talking about the latest in tabletop gaming news. And then normally I'll take a first look at a game. I might do an unboxing of a board game or maybe flip on through a role-playing game book, which is what we're doing tonight. And then on occasion, we'll actually just tackle a topic, or I might just do the news and hang out and chew the fat with chat. Like I said, tonight, we're going to dive on in and take a look at a role-playing game book. That's right, because we're going to dive on in and take a look at Labyrinth Adventures from Kobold Press. This is designed for Tales of the Valiant, as well as Dungeons and Dragons. We took a look at the World Book last week. This week, we're going to dive on in and take a peek at the adventure book. I believe it contains a dozen different adventures. Of course, if you're tuning in for that live first look, do want to let you know, probably be about 35-40 minutes before we get into that, because we always tackle the tabletop gaming news first. So if you're watching live, kick back, relax, put your feet up. If you are watching after the stream is over, maybe even on Memorex, do keep in mind that there are timestamps in the show notes, which if you want to jump past the tabletop gaming news, you certainly can. And you will find those timestamps once again in the show notes, or depending on the device you might be watching this on, right there in the timeline of the video itself. Now, of course, when you're not watching videos on the Gaming Gang channel, be sure to visit gaminggang.com for all latest in tabletop gaming news, reviews, and a whole lot more you are not going to find here on YouTube. You know the drill. Get your geek on at thegaminggang.com. And then, of course, because this is a live stream, there is chat available. Now, keep in mind, you must be a subscriber to the channel to take part in chat. You must be a subscriber for at least an hour before you're able to join the chat. It's one of the ways I keep some of the more unusual commenters at bay. But if you're a subscriber and have been for at least 60 minutes, and you want to say howdy, maybe get a question, comment, by all means, chime in. I will do my very best to respond. First out the gate tonight is our good friend of the show, the Madman. Semper Buffo is also with us, as is Sean O'Donnell, Wallona's Cave, Keithulu, W. Forge, and Kevin R. Smith. So welcome to everybody. Do want to mention before we jump on into the news, kind of a divisive episode last night when I was sharing a peek inside these alpha rules for Tunnels and Trolls from Rebellion Unplugged. Quite a few comments on the videos, got a few emails also talking about how that's not Tunnels and Trolls. I don't care if they put that name on there. Those aren't the same mechanics. That's not the same game. I don't know. I figured it was going to be dividing the hobby, or at least fans of Tunnels and Trolls, those who really dig the original version and those who are more than willing to take a look at a new edition. We'll see what happens. Anyway, Kevin R. Smith said, but it seemed to draw a surprising number of viewers. Like I said, I got some emails too. I mean, it's not like we got a ton of emails and that, but not emails, I should say, not a ton of comments. But the people who were commenting were pretty vehement. They really were. Oh, Kevin R. Smith says it drew a surprising number of viewers. Yeah, I was a little surprised as well. But that's cool. Any way that people stumble across the stream is absolutely fine with me. All right, so let's jump on into the news because Tiny Battle Publishing will be releasing a box set containing Herman Luttman's solitaire science fiction games. I've got the scoop on. They came in threes. They came from beyond time, beyond reason, and they brought friends. Strap in, Commander. This is the ultimate solo sci-fi slugfest. They came in threes, cranks the chaos to maximum warp. For the first time ever, 3 of designer Herman Luttman's bizarre, brain-busting solo science fiction games are gathered in one battle-scarred box. Lead brave galactic marines against interdimensional horrors, titanic biomech monstrosities, and insectoid swarms that shouldn't exist, but definitely do. This deluxe boxed package includes Invaders from Dimension X, a reality warping solo game where your foes don't follow logic or sanity. Attack of the 50-foot colossi. Massive rock-like entities stomp across a doomed world. Can you outwit their merciless programming? And then there's Space Vermin from Beyond. Bugs, big ones, hungry ones, and they're coming for your outpost in waves. This will also include a slick new FAQ and scenario book, which includes 3 scenarios, 8 counters for Invaders from Dimension X, and a frequently asked questions for each title. You'll also get 6 six-sided dice. Each game offers fast, intuitive solo play with unpredictable enemies, evolving scenarios, and that signature, what the heck just happened flavor. Whether you're repelling alien warlords, dodging titanic footfalls, or holding the last line against a tide of teeth and slime, They Came in Threes delivers good old-school thrills and glorious technicolored terror. 3 games, 1 box, unlimited weirdness. Warning, may cause spontaneous exclamations of, what in blazes is that thing? Use only with caffeinated beverages and an iron will to survive. Each of the games happens to be for a player ages 14 and up. They play in around 2 to 4 hours, and the collection carries an MSRP of $75. Currently, you can actually order the box set for $69. It's supposed to be shipping out later on this month. Now, if you have been a friend of the gaming gang for quite some time, you already know I'm good buddies with Herman Luttman, and I have shared coverage of all 3 of these games. Yes, I have. I certainly have. You know, there's also another Tiny Battle Publishing game that Herman did. If you are familiar with Dawn of the Zeds, that is probably what most people from the gaming gang would recognize Herman for. Herman does a lot of war game designs and things like that. Not only war games, but war game designs. And he also did the Plum Isle Horror. So that's another one. But he did kind of a bigger scale zombie game. I'm trying to remember the name of it. And it's from Tiny Battle Publishing. And it was actually really good. It was very, very cool. Very nice. So nice to see Herman's 3 solo science fiction games getting some new love. Like I said, you'll be able to get the box set It's shipping later this month. Cthulhu says, Starship Trooper goes sailing on by. Kathy Evans is with us in chat. W. Forge is asking, has anyone watched the first 2 episodes of Alien Earth? I was thinking of maybe catching that tonight. I watched the season finale of The Gilded Age last night and a little bit of Platonic. And yes, I thought, maybe I'll check that out. But you know what I tend to do? I've mentioned this before with a lot of shows. I wait till the season's over and then I binge it. So I watch the whole season over a couple of nights. You know, if it's got 8 to 10 episodes, I'm not talking like 22-hour-long episodes. I don't sleep for days. I just sit there watching. On to our next news piece. Following a successful crowdfunding run, the 4 Battlezoo Secret Dragon volumes are available from Roll for Combat. Here's the lowdown. Soar into the realm of the Fae with Battlezoo Ancestry's fairy dragons. Join the dragon researcher Calzandrix on a journey to discover 5 new true dragons from the fairy dragon family. Inside, you'll find alicorn dragons, horn dragons with a connection to unicorns, allure dragons possessed by the otherworldly beauty of nymphs, court dragons enmeshed in the otherworldly politics of the courtly fae known as Sede, mischief dragons with the incorrigible soul of gremlins, as well as pixie dragons with the love of pranks and humor. Walk on the wild side with Battlezoo Ancestry's Leshy dragons. Join the dragon researcher Calzandrix on a journey to discover 5 new true dragons from the Leshy dragon family. Inside, you're going to find arboreal dragons, love trees and are related to leaf leshies. Floral dragons love flowers and they're related to lotus leshies and other floral leshies. Harvest dragons love fruits and vegetables and are related to gourd leshies. And kelp dragons they happen to love kelp and seaweed and are related to seaweed leshies. Let's not forget the toadstool dragons with love of cooking and fungus, obviously related to fungus leshies. And then it's the revenge of the misfits with Battlezoo Ancestry Misfit Dragons, where you're going to discover 5 new true dragons from the Misfit dragon family. You'll find bionic dragons. They're overwhelmed by necromantic energy and have replaced parts of their bodies with mechanical parts. Doom dragons are overwhelmed by divination, surrounded by visions of doom that are usually inaccurate. Morphic dragons are overwhelmed by transmutation magic and whose bodies are continuously undergoing radical, out-of-control shape-shifting. And we got phase dragons who are overwhelmed by conjuration magic and have parts of their body or even all of the dragon phasing in and out of existence over time. Wellspring dragons are overwhelmed by, wellspring magic and continuously surrounded by extremely random effects. And then let's slip the Dragons of War with Battlezoo Ancestry's Battle Dragons. Yes, you'll discover 5 new true dragons from the Battle Dragon family. Duel dragons who love to fight will challenge nearly anyone to a duel, whether it be one-on-one, many-on-one, or whatever seems like a good fight. Hunt dragons, which live to stalk and hunt down intelligent prey, using every nasty trick in the book to defeat and hunt the most dangerous game. Mercenary dragons will fight anything and anyone for money. They have no concept of loyalty to others. They always honor the terms of their contract, so they won't just switch sides in the middle of a fight for a better deal, at least until that first contract expires. We also have rage dragons, which are periodically overwhelmed by primal anger that causes them to attack other creatures in a berserk rage. You won't like them when they're angry. And then we've got warlord dragons, which excel at organizing armies and leading them into battle, reveling in the sheer violence of war and other large-scale combats. Each 100-plus page volume with PDF is available for either Dungeons and Dragons or Pathfinder, and they do carry an MSRP of $39.99. If you want to grab them in PDF, you could get each for $25. Should also point out there are discounted bundles by way of Roll for Combat. If you want to get all 4 books, either the physical books or the PDFs, it's also the option for virtual tabletop. So got a lot of options available to you. And I do see that Stephen from Roll for Combat just popped on in as this news story was beginning. So I should mention, I have 3 of those 4 books. I've got the Leshy Dragons, I got the Fairy Dragons, and I've got the Misfit Dragons. And I believe the only reason why I did not have the Battle Dragons is because I think Stephen was sold out at Gen Con. So that's it. That's why. We are going to start taking a peek at those also. Maybe we'll try to take a look at one of them next week. Could be. Or maybe we do like a Roll for Combat September. That might be an option for us too. So there you have it. Also keep in mind, you have, I believe, 20 new playable dragons. So if you want to have a dragon as your player character, you can do that. And of course, there are loads and loads of dragons. I think it's over 80 where you'll get these stat blocks and everything. So that's not only if you want to have your player characters play as dragons. Now, these are also dragons you can use as just creatures and NPCs and so forth. Very nice, very nice. JD Sewell 3002 is with us. I also see Captain Finity Time Travel Police is with us once again too. All right, let's move on to our next news piece because there's a new bundle which is launched. It features role-playing games from Tomkin Press. And I've got the deets on the deal, which is over at Bundle of Holding. Adventure. This new Ironsworn Starforged bundle presents, well, you guessed it, Ironsworn, Starforged, and Sundered Isles, tabletop role-playing games of perilous fantasy, space opera, and seafaring adventure by Tomkin Press. Ironsworn and Starforged both adapt powered by the apocalypse mechanics to support no prep pickup play in 3 modes: solo, co-op without a game master, and GM guided. Iron Vows drive your characters, giving direction and purpose. Random tables called oracles let you shape the big picture. What is this site like? Who lives here? What foes must I face? Then when you zoom in and envision a scene, apocalypse-style moves let you play out challenges with surprises, setbacks, and triumphs. Craft your worlds on the fly, rolling or picking elements to shape your own settings exactly as you like. For just $14.95, you'll get all 4 titles in the Ironsworn collection, which has a retail value of $50.50 as DRM-free PDFs, including the complete Ironsworn core rulebook, along with its Ironsworn Delve expansion and the Pay What You Want Lodestar reference guide, the standalone compatible space opera role-playing game Starforged, and the seafaring expansion for Starforged, Sundered Isles. Each purchaser of this offer will also receive a discount code, which is good through September 30th. It's for 25% off Ironsworn, Starforged, and Sundered Isle print products by way of the Modifius North America or the Modifius UK web stores. Now, this is a brand new deal, just launched, and these savings will run through September 1st. I've always heard good things about Ironsworn. And I have heard from people who played it solitaire or they've played it without a game master with other players. Kind of curious. I've never taken a peek at it. And I think at one point, I think there was an edition that was in PDF that was free. I think it just didn't have any artwork. Kind of like the Without Number series of games from Kevin Crawford. Very possible. Quantos and Agile Monk are both joining us. Welcome. On our next news piece, there is a new fantasy setting and adventure for Dungeons & Dragons 5.5, or as a lot of people refer to it, Dungeons & Dragons 2024, or as I like to call it, new, not new, new Dungeons & Dragons. It is up for crowdfunding for Final Redoubt Press. Now I've got the latest on The Festering Earth. The Festering Earth. Hell infects the earth. This is called an ulcer. An ulcer will eventually destroy the world. The only sure way to cleanse an ulcer is to kill every evil thing inside. It's impossible to tell if someone is evil. So to be certain, everyone must die. If an ulcer were to develop in a major city, the entire population would need to be slaughtered. Felric's Redoubt, City of Secrets, City of Lies, the Land of Freedom, the Land of the Almighty Coin, the hub of civilization. As Felric's Redoubt goes, the world follows. Felric's Redoubt is crumbling. Everyone knows the world will end when the chaos in the east consumes it. Everyone knows this, but a small band of people hope for it, not because they want to see the world destroyed, because of what will happen in some unknown future. Felric's Redoubt is a threat now. This module includes an 80-page city source book, a 52-page adventure, ideas for individualized stories for the player characters, dramatic purposes which outline the design goals of every encounter. With dramatic purposes, a GM can more easily improvise on the fly, responding to player actions while knowing what story beats are required for fulfilling adventure. Now, the Kickstarter for The Festering Earth is fully funded. You can reserve a copy of the PDF for a $20 pledge through September 3rd. Expected delivery of this is this December. So, few things to keep in mind. This is the sequel to a previously published adventure, which also has, I believe it's a setting book and adventure together. You have to kind of take a peek through the entire Kickstarter project to run across how you could get your hands on that first adventure alongside this second adventure. Something else I should also point out, it does look like this has a lot of Christian overtones to it. I'm not saying anything either way. I'm just mentioning that it does appear to have that. So, yeah, just letting you know. Just letting you know. But this is on Kickstarter. It's already funded, and you can get a lot more information over on the Kickstarter page than what I've shared to this point. Let's move on to our final news piece, because Greenhorns, a weird science fiction role-playing game, is out in print and PDF from Spicy Tuna. Oh, that's a spicy tuna. Some of you out there might remember that's a spicy meatball. Here's the skinny. Welcome to Greenhorns, a weird space role-playing game where you embark on dangerous missions, crash through volatile societal structures, and survive the strange. Play as Cruxians, highly evolved and deeply flawed humanoids, bringing new life into the cosmos and protecting your home planet from rogue, vengeful anomalies and, of course, the dangers within. Planet creation missions feel like dungeon diving. Bounty hunting missions require toppling enemy schemes. And Cruxor, the crew's home planet, is an ever-changing sandbox ready to implode. I get a tickle in my throat. That's better. Glass cannon characters utilize limited skills for standout moments, while auto hit combat encourages tactical play. Narrative tools allow players to build the world with the GM, while simple D20 dice mechanics randomize results. You'll find the 152 pages are broken down into 20 pages of rules, 20 pages of guidance, and over 80 pages of 7 ready-to-play missions and sandbox shore leave, and the rest is split between supporting random tables and resources. So what you'll find inside are 8 uncanny classes, including Light Witch, Void Magician, Force Flyer, Conjure Mage, and more. 6 modular planet layers with 12 unique dungeon maps. The Mad Mystic Bounty Hunting mini-campaign, read by Christian Sorrell. Several job boards that combine planet layers to create dozens of planets. Guidance for running the game, plus narrative tools. Cruxor, the crew's home planet, which is a sandbox location, including 10 locations and 5 factions. Expanded material for each class, including favored weapons and gear, clubs and gangs, hobbies and hangouts, important NPCs, and their academies/headquarters. Dozens of random tables that provide gear, weapons, NPCs, and they expand the possibilities during character creation, and a lot more. You'll find over 60 threats, 19 bosses, and more than 35 NPCs. The 152-page hardcover carries an MSRP of $40. If you want to just grab the PDF alone, you can do so over at DriveThruRPG for $30. Gotta say, with that pricing, it just makes more sense to go ahead and grab the hardcover. It's only $10 more than the PDF. Gotta say, this looks pretty interesting. And Spicy Tuna has released some pretty well-regarded games. I will admit, I have not had an opportunity to take a peek at any of them, but I have heard some good things about them. And gotta say, this looks kind of cool. It looks kind of cool. If it didn't, I wouldn't be sharing news about it. So there is that. Lenny Blade and Mark Hawkswell, as well as Russell Higgins, are all joining us in chat. I see 245 Trioxin popped on in. Did someone say meatballs? A spicy meatball. Wasn't that Alka-Seltzer? I think it was the Alka-Seltzer commercial. Then he's talking about it being a spicy meatball and then a little plop, plop, fizz, fizz action going on. Yes. All right. That is the tabletop gaming news for this evening. Of course, I mentioned DriveThruRPG. Don't forget, the Gaming Gang, thus the Dispatch, is affiliated with the One Bookshelf sites. So if you're going to stop by DriveThruRPG, Storyteller's Vault, Dungeon Masters Guild, Wargame Vault, any of those One Bookshelf sites, please stop by thegaminggang.com first. Click on one of our banners. That way, if you happen to make a purchase, I get 5% of that sale. And all of that adds up and really does help keep thegaminggang.com around. Also, if you like the video, if you dig the channel, if you find the Gaming Gang to be a valuable resource, hell, if you just like what we do, you can actually support the outlet in a couple of ways. First, by making a one-time donation by way of PayPal. Hell, you can buy me a 2-liter bottle of soda. That's the one, a refreshing soda. Or you can become a monthly member of our Patreon. And on every live show, I like to give a shout out to our Patreon members, starting at the $5 level. We have Gustavo Cavalho, Jason Lawman, Caval, Kevin R. Smith, Sean O'Donnell, and Talzek. Our $10 tier members, Matt W., Dan Webb, Game Cat, Pete Strakulich, RPG Munch, Tessie Trekkie, and Tier 2 DM, as well as our $25 tier members who are both with us in chat, Agile Monk and The Madman. Also forgot to say hello to the lovely and talented Miss Sarah D, if she is lurking in the shadows tonight as one of our chat moderators, alongside the Madman. Very nice, very nice. Yes. So, what's cooking? So we're going to get on into Labyrinth Adventures in just a few moments. If you're curious what's going on tomorrow's show, we are going to dive on in and take a look at Outgunned Adventure from Two Little Mice and Free League Publishing. I do believe this is standalone. So you do not need the Outgunned core book in order to use this. I think all the rules are in this too. So sweet. So we're going to dive on into that. And then I had mentioned next week we were going to take a peek at the Rock of Chickamauga from Flying Pig Games. I think I am going to just do a standalone first look video. Reason being is because I've sort of noticed with the live stream, we don't pull in as many viewers when I do like a war game. I think the war gamers are more that they'd rather just see a standalone video, not have to mess around with watching tabletop gaming news and things like that. So I think that's what I'm going to do. And then I will, now I'm trying to remember. That's it. Trying to remember the title of the game, Fate Forge Chronicles or Chronicle of Khan. I think we'll do that. W4 asks if I've ever reviewed Broken Compass. I have not. I never did. Never had an opportunity to check it out. The Vampire Castle Gaming is with us tonight. Welcome. Sarah T is popping on in. Says, yes, hello from the shadows. They had to leave and come back. Kept getting an error when trying to chat. That's kind of strange. That's a little bit weird. Yes. All righty then. So tonight we are going to be taking a look at Labyrinth Adventures from my friends over at Kobold Press. But first, I think it's time for a brief intermission.
It's intermission time, folks. Time out for a delicious snack in our sparkling refreshment building. Every item a fresh, appetizing taste treat.
What's your pleasure, sir or madam, and all you kiddies too? Sandwiches, freshly made from quality ingredients, soft drinks, cool, tangy, and refreshing. A hot dog? There you are, tender, juicy, done to a turn with some fixins. Hamburgers, ma'am? Just the way you like 'em, meaty, moist, and broiled to perfection. Soft drinks, kiddies? Take your choice, cold, tingly with flavor, all your favorite soft drinks for your selection. Something to eat for everyone, soft drinks to make your evening complete. Delicious, fresh, and satisfying to help your entertainment reach the peak of family fun.
You know, I really feel like something to eat now, some shrimp.
Want to stop?
Yeah. There's a Jack in the Box over there. It'll just take a second.
All right, whatever you say.
Your order, please.
One order of shrimp, please, and hurry. Oh, thank you very much, and keep the change.
Jack in the Box drive-thru restaurants. Good food for people who just can't wait to eat.
Now, here comes Big Bruiser with light flashing. There's the wreck. That Big Bruiser up to it. This lever puts the power winch into action. And Big Bruiser does it again. Comes with jack, tools, fender, and spare tire to repair the wreck. Pickup truck included, too. Get battery-powered Big Bruiser by Marks.
I have a hunch I'm being followed.
Have you started drinking Wilkins Instant Coffee?
No. How?
I have a hunch you'd better start.
In the future, the world has survived. Romance, has not.
Right, so we'll say a dinner, complete sexual encounter, optional episode in the morning, right?
I gotta run this past my own lawyer.
Pleasure is strictly business. But it will be possible to have the perfect mate. A Cherry 2000.
Looks great.
Thanks.
Thoughtful. Desirable. She'll never run out on him. Just short out.
I'm sorry, kid. Total internal meltdown. Now you got her basic memory right here. Vocal patterns, verbal, whatever. Basic voice. Don't look so glum. Your chassis out for the count, all right? You got the chip, you go in, you pick yourself out a new model, you slide it in the slot. You got yourself your girl bag in a brand new frame.
Give me a call if you find a Cherry. Cherry 2000.
Look, my friend, you're gonna be a very old man, round in the middle and bone dry before you find one of those in these parts.
That's a chance I'll just have to take.
Then the adventure begins.
Why don't you hire a tracker to go into Zone 7?
We got a policy against trackers in these parts.
Nobody goes into Zone 7.
They got one of the original warehouses down there. Girls stacked on the shelves like pies.
I'm looking for someone to go into Zone 7.
I'm E. Johnson. You're not gonna find anybody better than me, mister. I'm not a machine. Do you know where they keep these babies? We call it the graveyard. It is the worst place in the zone. Well, maybe I can get in there and find this thing, but I need somebody riding shotgun in order to make it out in one piece.
I want you to chase those birds till they drop.
If you think it's tough to meet the right people now, wait till you go looking for a Cherry 2000.
Cherry 2000. I actually saw that movie in the theaters when it came out. Yes, W. Forge mentions Tim Thomerson, the king of B-movie science fiction. Yeah, he's still around. I started to say he was. Yeah, there's tons and tons of B movies, sometimes C and D movie science fiction titles that he has been in. Plenty of straight to video. So Cthulhu mentioned that the actor in that Jack in the Box commercial was in Blazing Saddles. There was actually somebody a little more famous in that commercial. You had to be watching it to see it, because it's pretty quick. But the woman, the wife, obviously, he's bringing to the hospital is Penny Marshall. Kind of wild. All righty then. So tonight we're going to dive on in and we're going to be taking a first look at Labyrinth Adventures from my friends over at Kobold Press. This 222-page hardcover carries an MSRP of $44.99. It is available now. If you want, you can grab just the PDF. You can do so over at DriveThruRPG for $24.99. Cthulhu says, son of a gun. Mateo is with us in chat. He said Cherry 2000 looked like a great premise for a cyberpunk role-playing game. Cherry 2000 was not a great movie, but it wasn't a terrible movie. It was entertaining enough. It was fine. Funny enough, it wasn't real sleazy, because it almost looks like it would be. Be like, well, there's probably a lot of nudity in that. Not really. And then on the other hand, it wasn't the kind of movie you were going to take the kids to go see. So, because Cherry 2000 is a sex bot, essentially. All righty. So, W4 says they just let's go look. Says Jeff's right. She's not talking with her usual nasal twang. All right, let's swing it over to the other camera because here I've got Labyrinth Adventures. A few things to mention before we jump on in. First of all, my friends over at Kobold Press were kind enough to provide me with this review copy, but neither I nor anyone else affiliated with the Gaming Gang has received any other sort of compensation for me to share this coverage with you. You know, it's important you know that. We're also not going to look at each and every page of the book, but I do want to give you a really good feel what you're going to find inside. And then, of course, keep in mind, this is an adventure book, so there are going to be spoilers. If you are a player and your game master has picked this up, you have been warned. Even though we're cracking this open for the first time, we're going to see some spoilers. Plus, I'm going to read the synopsis of each of the adventures in here. But we're going to start off by taking a look at the back. Tales of adventure across 10,000 worlds. The pathways to your next heroic quest are open with Labyrinth Adventures. The 12 adventures found in this book for characters of levels 1 through 8 are perfect for your Tales of the Valiant campaign. Experience them as separate quests easily brought into your game, or string them together as an epic journey across multiple worlds in search of a shattered portal key. Climb aboard a runaway train, hurtling between worlds in search of its lost inventor. Pull off the ultimate heist and snatch an acorn of the world tree from a devil's hall. Battle against a void cult to prevent countless worlds from utter ruin. Enter the halls of a dreaming god, confront powerful void angels, and more. Your path through the labyrinth begins here. Try not to get lost. First thing we're going to do is take a look at the credits page. Because a lot of folks worked hard to bring this to life, so let's give credit where credit is due. So with our table of contents, we've got our introduction, and then we jump right on into our adventures. Welcome to Labyrinth Adventures. Within these pages, there is enough excitement, mystery, and heroics to keep a band of adventurers busy for quite some time. Heroes from every corner of the labyrinth, from every one of the 10,000 worlds and the pathways between, have a chance to reach astonishing heights of renown and prestige, or a sudden ignoble passing in some cult's machinations or feast's foul lair. So you will have the opportunity to utilize this as standalone adventures, or you will be able to tie these together in a campaign. Scott Pyle is with us. Welcome. I believe this might be a first-time visit for Scott in chat. Says, love the show. Thank you. Welcome aboard. So we're going to start off with the Lost Book of Mektar. The Lost Book of Mektar is a first-tier adventure set in the Smithy, a key location in the labyrinth. However, you can transplant it easily into any chosen location. This adventure blends exploration, social interaction, and battle for a party of 4 to 5 first-level player characters, though you can adjust it to accommodate more or fewer players. If things go well for the new heroes, they could find a number of items, toolkits, and other equipment that will prove valuable in their future adventuring careers. After completing this scenario, characters should reach second level. So the background, based out of the hub city called the Smithy, the keepers of the keys serve as the protectors of the labyrinth. The keepers fashion keys and portals to connect worlds and planes to one another, enabling the heroes of these worlds to assist each other in forcing back the void. To facilitate her research into the void, Jaina Solis, a keeper's mechanist, borrowed the Book of Mektar from the Library of Worlds in the Citadel of the Keys. In its pages, she found unhinged rantings and prayers to dark entities, but nothing immediately useful, so she set the book aside and forgot about it. During an audit of the library's holdings, the librarians discovered the Book of Mektar was missing. They asked Scriv, a library automaton, to collect the overdue material. In its efforts to retrieve the book, Scriv has hit a snag. Jaina, the last person to borrow the book, has died. Opposing the keepers, the demon Barnesius has obtained the book. The demon and its cultists intend to use it to summon a Ripper, a powerful void entity, into the smithy to wreak havoc. Mwaha! Yes. Chris Lundgren's popping on in. Chris has COVID now. Got it from his wife. Sorry to hear that. Feel better. Actually, it looks like a fairly lengthy adventure. I'm going to take a guess. Each adventure is probably going to come out to about 10 pages. Well, 8 to 10. Next up, Chasing the Inferno. A hell caravan named the Legion of Perdition has carved its way across the labyrinth, plundering innumerable worlds. A company called Ferris's Irregulars deserted from the Legion after a particularly bloody conflict. The Irregulars fled into the labyrinth, where they intended to conquer. I'm sorry. Oh, yeah, I was going to say, I thought it was which they intended to conquer, but it says where they intended to conquer on their own terms. Lacking the logistical support to remain in the field, the Irregulars found themselves outnumbered, undersupplied, and outmatched by other labyrinth factions. With their most powerful devils slain, the Irregulars surviving imps and lemurs banded together under a lantern devil who has inherited the title Ferris. Despite their bad luck, the remaining Irregulars have captured a Siderian sage named Nakuma the All-Knowing. The Irregulars wish to return to the Legion and view their Siderian captive, an operative of the Concord of Stars, as the best way to negotiate their return. So, taking a guess, the player characters are going to look to rescue them. Agile Monk points out the Labyrinth Worldbook provides something new in 5e tabletop, a campaign overlay. Yes, I will have, hopefully, my review of the Labyrinth Worldbook this weekend. I've got some goodies coming this weekend. You should probably end up with 3 review videos and a first look video. So I'll try to stretch it out like, one each day, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Although the reality is I always notice that the weekends, I usually don't get as many views right off the bat. But then again, I don't want to kind of double up videos when I'm doing the live streams either, because I think that would kind of cannibalize views. Anywho, next up, Song of the Void. And this is for 3rd level characters. Scory Night-Eye, a former member of the Harbingers of the Yawning Void, absconded with a powerful artifact, a crumbling statue of black stone known as the Night Singer. Compelled by its eerie music, Squirrel and a band of loyal followers fled to form their own splinter sect, known as the Cult of Night's Song. Squirrel feels convinced that the Night Singer's music once had the power to undo reality, and if properly enhanced, can sing entire worlds into ruin. After years of research, the dwarf cultist believes the time has come to see the Night Singer's power brought to fruition. Chris Lundgren is asking about the Witcher bundle yesterday. It's at Humble Bundle. HumbleBundle.com. Look under books, and you will find it there. All 6 of the Witcher RPG releases for a minimum donation of $15. Recently, a new recruit to the cult has experienced a crisis of faith at the advent of their greatest triumph. He fled, getting drunk at a frontier inn. He provided a fumbling confession to a rather confused and alarmed barkeep before stumbling off into the night. The barkeep wonders what to do with this information. Then fate intervenes on his behalf. So it sounds like our heroes are going to stumble into that adventure. If you're curious about the production quality, this is what we've come to expect from Kobold Press. Solid paper stock. I would say probably on par with like Paizo ink. Not as thick, obviously. We've talked about this before as, say, like Free League Publishing and that. But this should hold up fairly well. I always like the Kobold Press artwork. Even though a lot of the art is relatively static, I do like the art. Always have. Okay. Next adventure is the Golden Acorn Heist. I think we know that they're stealing it from Devil's Hall because that was on the back of the book. At the center of Midgard stands Yggdrasil, the mighty world tree, whose branches extend out into the plains, and it is whispered into the labyrinth itself. The primary inhabitants of the world tree are the Redoubt. I think that's what it says. Redoubt, who act as planar guides, guardians of the tree, and invertebrate gossips. Okay. Nothing is more sacred to the Redoubt than Yggdrasil's golden acorns, especially since the melon-sized acorns have the potential to grow a whole new world tree. Now, one has been stolen. Kirich and Dulya Hollowtooth, a pair of Redoubt siblings, were raised by the rich and influential uncle after their parents' death. They should be leading the lives of the Redoubt elite. Recently, however, they learned their uncle, Najori Brushbristle, was tainted by the void and has secretly gone over to the Mad Branch cult. This fact, should it be discovered, would implicate both Kirich and Dulya. Desperate to save their last remaining relative and themselves, they despaired of finding a cure, but then received a mysterious offer. A cure for void taint could be theirs if they accomplished a pair of tasks. While his sister departed on her own mission, Kirich infiltrated the ranks of the lauded Redoubt Order, the Guardians of the Tree, and stole one of the golden acorns. Following his instructions, Kirich fled with his prize into the Ashen Claw, a devil's palace in the greater hell of Devirsarik. There, Kirich awaits the arrival of the palace's master, Lord Arzenda. So our heroes are going to go and grab that acorn back. Captain Affinity says, I can never pronounce that tree name. Most impressive. I don't know if that's the correct pronunciation, though. Ysidril. To be honest, I've heard umpteen different ways. So, seeing I'm not like, Norwegian or anything like that. I don't have any Viking blood running through my veins. I don't know what to tell you. Okay, so this is the heist adventure. Then we got Missing Darkness. Angels recently raided the world of Gwilyn and confiscated the Eclipse Orb, an artifact that they believed hid creatures of the void. While they plan to purge the orb of them eventually, for now, they are satisfied with secreting it away, where poses no threat. Seem to have there are some grammatical errors I noticed in this book so far, which is, it's not a huge deal. Some people, it drives them bonkers. Without the artifact, though, Gwilyn has returned to a state of eternal sunlight, which will destroy animals and crops dependent on a day-night cycle. The angel left a portal seed to connect the world to the celestial realms, should the inhabitants wish to contest the removal of the orb. The characters agree to represent the people of Gwilyn in their attempt to regain the orb for their world. All right. So it looks like each of the adventures is going to give us a bit of a background We are also going to see what factions are involved. I think we're going to see what worlds there are. This looks like this is a lengthier adventure. So as an example, we've got the background, we've got the summary. The summary, I've been reading the background. Summary kind of tells us what the PCs are expected to do too. The Man says they do have Viking blood running through their veins, and they don't know how to pronounce it either. Or they're not positive how to pronounce it. So here we've got our factions and key players, the call to action, and then we get into the adventure itself. So here into the Dreamland. The Sanctum of the Dreaming Eye was one of the first temples built to honor Kartok, the dreaming god and forest lord, when the deity first emerged in the Labyrinth more than 500 years ago. Shortly after its construction, a ruthless force of Rakshasas and Salangs attacked the sanctum, intent on razing it to the ground. In desperation, the sanctum's clerics enacted a powerful spell that transported a version of the sanctum intact with all inhabitants into the Great Vision, to a demi-plane woven from their dreams and desires. Now the sanctum lies in stasis, its inhabitants trapped in a permanent, maddening loop, a loop that only the player characters can end. So the PCs are going to travel to the ruins of an ancient temple and enter a dream demi-plane to free the sanctum's cursed inhabitants from the powerful spell. From what I can see, just from taking a quick peek at these adventures, I would say we're probably looking at maybe a session, maybe 2 sessions for some of these longer ones. This looks to be a lengthier one here too. Yeah, I think that's the longest of the whole bunch. Threading Rava's Needle. This one has a pretty long background. And, of course, more fantasy names that are like, what? Zaramathan Naring? I don't know. Also known as Zarumanathan the Mad, was an eccentric human mechanist and wizard who joined the Keepers of the Keys. Obsessed with mapping the many worlds of the Labyrinth and cataloging their wonders, he orchestrated the construction of a train like those on Armillary, capable of traversing the Labyrinth by portal. This is the train adventure here, where they're trying to find the train's inventor, I guess. He orchestrated the construction. Okay. He enlisted the aid of other keepers, sages, wizards, mechanists, and mechadrons to construct it, and consulted with experts from many worlds and planes, including devils, powerful elementals, and even a member of the followers of the pure void named Jarvira Santris. The resulting train consisted of a series of linked cars driven by an arcane clockwork engine. It ran on a specific rail, but could open and traverse portals, giving it a vast number of routes. Zarumathanan dubbed it Rava's Needle after the goddess he revered because it both pierced and stitched together the fabric of the labyrinth. As a train's visionary, he was given control of the needle and defined its course. So just skipping ahead, looks like the inventor apparently dies. And it looks as if there are constructs running the train, or now kind of defending the train. Recently, Solaria Damond, a fellow keeper and his love, discovered the needle's location and determined to reclaim it. While she wishes to return the needle to the keepers, she cares even more about discovering what happened to the Z-Man and whether he can be restored. So they have enlisted the player characters to retrieve the train from Mechadron Station, where it's being held. This adventure is for 4 or 5 fifth level characters. That's kind of wild. That's pretty cool. I do not believe this is available yet for virtual tabletop, but I'm sure it's on the horizon. Not a very long adventure there. So in the Court of the Clockwork Queen, this is for 5th level characters as well. The city of Arvik is currently hosting the Winter Nights Festival, a 10-day long celebration to mark the arrival of winter. The Jarl of Arvik will award a large gold mirror that he acquired from a foreign merchant to the winning team in the celebration's Nadaliker tournament, a popular and very rough ball game. Unbeknownst to the Jarl, the mirror is a powerful magical artifact. The Mirror of the Minotaur, capable of opening pathways to the labyrinth for one who deciphers the riddle carved on its frame. Unfortunately, the riddle is in common, which, though spoken elsewhere on the continent, isn't the major tongue of Norengard. The Jarl doesn't speak common and doesn't realize the mirror's true purpose. However, one of his well-traveled housecarls, I'm not even going to pronounce that name, can read common and has solved the riddle by holding a hand mirror up to the magical mirror. Steer opened a gate into the labyrinth. In the mirror, he met the Clockwork Queen, a dangerous constructed being looking to spread her domination to other worlds. The Queen infected Steer, turning him into a clockwork controller. Now a walking corpse with a clockwork brain, the thing that was Steer purposely infects other citizens of Arvik with clockwork parasites, transforming them into decaying marionettes that serve him. Sounds kind of cool. Under the cover of the Winter Nights Festival, these alien automata seek to claim and reactivate the Mirror of the Minotaur, delivering the mirror to their monarch, waiting in a nether space inside the labyrinth. Should they succeed, the Queen of the Clockwork Collective can spread her mechanized evil without restraint, poisoning first the city of Arvik, then the entire world of Qualth, and finally any world she chooses from the tapestry of existence. So it looks as if our heroes are charged by a dying Concordian agent to prevent the Queen from acquiring the mirror. So I guess the player characters will know something about the mirror. They set off to that city. I thought maybe they were going to be in that city simply. Okay, so here's the Clockwork Queen, I guess. That's a pretty nice piece of art. Here I thought maybe the player characters were going to be in the city for the festival and somehow stumble into all that. Then we got Champion of Death. This is for 6th level characters. Medramar, a once thriving nexus of trade, fell to the void as a dead world long ago. A grand lighthouse there, the light of many worlds, now focuses the blasphemous magic of, not even going to try to pronounce that, the Soulbinder. Once a priestess of Sif, unpronounceable name, faced exile for animating her fallen comrades as undead to win a desperate battle. Lost and bereft, she heard the call of the void and wandered into the darkest bowels of Ysidril. There we go. Got it again. There among Nidhogg's mad utterances, she understood the rightness of her actions. In the inevitable end, undeath is a gift. Oh, I guess she's going to try to give the gift to everybody. Just taking a peek here. Oh, I guess maybe not. Oh, yeah, okay, so they're introducing another priestess or something. So it says, unbeknownst to Melandril and his allies, void agents have coerced a Redoubt spy named, not even going to go, oh, well, it's Dolia Hollowtooth. Hey, we just ran across them earlier in the Golden Acorn heist. So they steal a portal key. Trying to see where the player characters comes in. It says the adventure begins in the bustling smithy, a hub of innovation and arcane knowledge within the Labyrinth, which I think our first adventure started off in as well. Characters find themselves summoned to meet with Melandel, an elf merchant introduced as Milo. Okay. Solid looking maps here. A little plain, though, they do look. We got Maze Runner. Among Minotaurs, discoverers of the Labyrinth, the Temple of Wisdom is legendary. Historically, the center of Minotaur culture in an age remembered only in myth, the temple is nonetheless real, abandoned ages ago after cataclysmic events. Worshippers access the temple by an intricate network of portals, a maze through the labyrinth that the faithful must navigate to reach the holy site. So you have to navigate a labyrinth before you get into the labyrinth? Mm-hmm. If the labyrinth itself is a great maze, this sacred maze was the city at its heart. When the portal key says, when the portal key to enter the maze, I thought it said center. I was like, what? Huh? When the portal key to enter the maze was lost to time, the temple became forever locked away. The Minotaurs eventually resigned themselves to the loss, ascribing it to the ever-changing will of the gods. Now the temple is a metaphor, invoked as a representation of the things that, however desirable, one must accept as unobtainable in order to maintain peace of mind. Temple of Wisdom has become a lesson in accepting what fate hands you. This is for 7th level characters. It says a venerable Minotaur named Ferala the Resolute approaches the characters with a mission. She has devoted her long life to recovering the lost history and culture of her people. Her crowning creation is the Rainbow Orb, a gate key she believes will open the way to the maze, restoring access to the Temple of Wisdom. Max Apocalypse is with us in chat. A maze wrapped in an enigma. I think we have a couple adventures left. Now, this one relatively long, too. Then we have What Dwells Beneath. This is for 8th level characters. After 300 years, a survivor of the Dwellers has been found. During a recent expedition into the Dwellers' vast ruins beneath the frozen wastes of Coldforge, the keepers of the keys discovered and resuscitated a petrified dwarf. Despite the dwarf's warnings, the keepers' expedition met with an untimely demise under the malign influence of the same mysterious Malkanites, or that once drove the Dwellers to murder each other. Maimed during his recovery and out of his time, the dwarf seeks allies to mount a new incursion into the halls of the Dwellers. He promises powerful weapons to defeat the void and hopes to rescue some of his kin. Unbeknownst to him, the keepers of the keys have other concerns. Dozens of Frost Knights have surrounded their outposts on Coldforge and cut off their retreat. With the entrance to the halls overrun by undead, their only hope to enter the Dwarven realm now lies miles across Coldforge's inhospitable surface. So are the player characters with this group? I'm going to have to lead them across the frozen wastes. Yeah, it looks like the player characters have been enlisted as part of an expedition. Doesn't necessarily say it is the expedition. So it looks like we got a pretty wide variety of different kinds of adventures. I guess that was the last one, huh? Or is there like one final real short one? Nope. That was the final adventure. Then we got some handouts. And some advertising. Yes. All right. Chris Lundgren says, looks neat. Wonder if they can convert the setting adventures to another fantasy RPG. Well, essentially, this is built off of Black Flag role-playing, which is kind of like a 5.5. But you can also utilize 5e, so anything that's 5e adjacent, you could certainly utilize the Labyrinth adventures for. So there is that. Once again, this is available now from Kobold Press. The 222-page hardcover does carry an MSRP of $44.99. Let's double check. Yes, $44.99. If you want to just grab the PDF alone, you can do so over at DriveThruRPG for $24.99. Of course, stay tuned. I will have a review of Labyrinth Adventures in the not too distant future, hopefully within a couple of weeks or so. Sweet. All right. I kind of rocked out the show fairly quickly tonight. So that's it for this time out. On tomorrow's show, we're going to dive on in and take a first look at Outgunned Adventure from Two Little Mice and Free League Publishing. Looking forward to diving on into this. I think the Outgunned mechanics are kind of cool. If you have not seen my coverage of Outgunned, I did a review. I like it quite a bit. And mechanically, it's pretty lightweight, but it's got a nice little wrinkle to it. Vexpocalypse says, ooh, they have Outgunned Adventure. Nice. All right, so if you were watching live, thank you very much. If you watched live and took part in chat, bigger thank you, because not only are you keeping me company, you're also keeping each other company while I'm going through the news or unboxing a game or flipping through a book. But of course, I know a lot of folks out there, you don't have an opportunity to watch live. Doesn't matter if you're watching live or on Memorex. Thank you for taking time out of your busy life to watch any of the over 2,300 videos here on the channel. Yes. If you like the video, by all means, please give it a quick thumbs up. Subscribe to the Gaming Gang channel if you haven't already. And if you do subscribe, don't forget, ring that bell, because it'll not only let you know when I share episodes of the Dispatch streaming live, it'll also inform you when I share other videos, such as my recent review of Coriolis, the Great Dark, from my friends over at Free League Publishing. Yeah, quite a few people checking out that video too. Very nice. And of course, when you're not watching videos on the Gaming Gang channel, be sure to visit thegaminggang.com for all the latest in tabletop gaming news, reviews, and a whole lot more you are not going to find here on YouTube. You know the drill. Get your geek on at thegaminggang.com. Thank you very much for watching. Once again, I'm Jeff McAleer. And as always, I like to hope each and every one of you get to enjoy plenty of great gaming with your gang.